So anyways, I went down to the draft board and checked with them. I said, I'd like to know when I can expect to get drafted. And they said, well, it's done by lottery, so we have no way of knowing. Well, I said, you know, this leaves you in kind of a dilemma. You don't know what move to make. So they said, well, you can volunteer for the draft. So I did. So I went in, and after basic training, I went to wheel vehicle mechanic school. And when we got done with that course, we all got orders to go to Korea, and we got shots to go. Well, the morning that we were supposed to leave to go to Korea, we turned in our bedding and everything, and we were out in ranks. And while we were out at Reveille, the bus pulled up, and the first sergeant says, I'm going to read off the names. And he says, when your name is called, he said, you get on the bus. So we got done reading, and we never heard our names called, another fella and I. So he says, anybody that's on this list that's not on that bus is AWOL. So we went up and we said, he didn't call our names out. He says, you must have been talking back there. I said, no, we weren't talking. I said, what? We were listening and you didn't call our names. He says, I said, check your list. So he did. He says, your names are crossed off. I said, what does that mean? He says, my job's to read the list. He says, if you want to find that out, you have to go to personnel. So after Reveille, we went down to personnel, and they said they didn't know either because they just got a call the night before to cross the names off. We didn't find out till a week later what the whole reason was. They had two instructors at the school we just finished who were being discharged, and they needed to replace them. And they picked us to do the teaching at the school to replace them. And they said, we interviewed you on the job. And I said, what do you mean you interviewed us? Well, what they did in the Army, an interview is much different than what you would expect in civilian life. They called us in one at a time, sat us at one side of the table, and they had 5 high-ranking officers on the other side. And they started accusing us of stealing or buying off the answers to the test that we had in the school. And finally, after we kept telling them we didn't cheat and anything else, then they started questioning us on the test. And then they said, well, okay, you're free to go. But that was an interview. So I ended up teaching school for 2 years. And we got married and moved. We moved down to South Carolina for the duration of the time.